if they had victim mentality, they would never be a top performer.
Welcome to the Rachel and Drew Show. I'm Drew.
I'm Rachel.
Welcome back, guys. We've been talking a lot about business. We're talking a lot about growing, scaling, fixing problems. There's if you got business and you like to do business at the rate that we like to do business, it's gonna be a bit turbulent. That's just normal, you know. And you're never done. You'll have good weeks. You'll have undulations, and the undulations are normal. There's this. I forget what the name of it is called, but it's called subject of the mean. It's a concept of working with humans, and there's this natural undulation in working with human beings. Even though if you're diving into your numbers and you're going all in on qualitative stuff, like quantitative stuff rather, like numbers, goals, projections, KPIs, all that good stuff. That's an important piece of it. It's a very important part and piece of it. But there's this other domain that not a lot of people talk about. And then what I'm going to kind of help you do is help give you some concepts, some ideas, and what we do, we offer this, we do it for you, but I'm gonna do the best I can to describe how we're working with people, how we're getting them to level up, and essentially, but not in the sense that you might think in the world of stylists. It's really how do we get them to perform at a better level? Because at the end of the day, that is the job of the owner, is to elicit the highest level of performance from the team so that they can get to the goals and what they're looking to do.
And a lot of times too, it's that's the overarching goal and what the process looks like. But the most important thing to getting that to stick to where you're not constantly having to reopen and review and go back through all these different things and reiterate is to get your stylist, your team, your manager, whoever it is, to actually want to participate. That, I think, is one of the biggest challenges that a lot of business owners face in general, not even just salon owners.
How to get them to want to be better?
Yeah, how do you get the team to want to get better? Because that's not something that you on your own can, I always tell people, you can't motivate someone. Mm-mm. You can inspire someone that might lead to motivation, but you motivating someone, there's nothing you can say or do or give them or some magic pill they can take that's going to make them motivated. Motivation comes from within. And a lot of times for people to actually get motivated, there usually it's like a cause and effect type of thing. So something has to happen, usually something negative, that causes someone to kind of get into a state of I've had enough, I'm sick of things being this way, etc., to where they then find this motivation or they self-start this motivation to get them out of that particular situation. But what you were talking about, what I think you're about to go through is the ramping up, cycle that what we do. But the piece that will come from going through this through structure, through really developing and coaching and mentoring your team, is that they actually want to participate. They want to do well too, and that's usually something that is very challenging to teach, because it's a lot of times it's through consistency and you just constantly pouring into people that's going to lead to that. So yes. Kick us off, Drew.
Yeah, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'm just going to go through some ideas on attitude and coachability, right? So
write this stuff down, you guys. If you're not driving, write this stuff down, because this is really, really, really good stuff for you to be able to expand on.
I'll go through one of my columns. I'm just reading off one of my processes that I have here. And because, again, going back, you have quantitative results, which are numbers, and then you have qualitative inputs and outputs. So when you're developing humans, right, we need quantitative outputs so we know how well we're doing. This is why games have scores and weights have numbers. We need to know the data on what's going on. That's how we make sense of things as humans.
So numbers.
And then you have your qualitative inputs and your outputs. So the qualitative is these softer skills, these things that you can't quantify, right? Because you can't get people to a higher level of quantitative or numbers. You can't get their numbers up, if you will, which is a quantitative output, if their inputs from the leadership isn't good, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a dichotomy, right? So I'm going to start from lowest to highest, right? Or So I'm going to talk about just attitude and coachability, right? If you're giving someone feedback, are they great? So lowest to highest. I have four tiers. You can call it A, B, C, D. You can call it 1, 2, 3, 4, right? I'm going to start at a 1. So the attitude and coachability, 1, bad attitude, not taking feedback well, ego gets in the way, resistant to change, doesn't implement feedback when given, continues to make the same mistakes even after multiple coaching iterations on it, negative victim mentality.
You guys are probably thinking of a couple stylists in your heads right now, or people in your business, or even your life. Especially as we go through these, I would maybe try and associate what he's saying and describing with something tangible, like a person or someone on your team, so that way you can kind of sort through. This will make more sense as we go through.
Yeah, so that's a 1. So 1 is that this is just attitude. I have other columns, but I'm just sticking in the attitude and coachability column. That's a 1. Now, so what would be a 2, right? A 2 is going to be good attitude on the surface, but you can tell that they have a lot of frustration and negativity under the surface. Listening to feedback, but can't implement feedback effectively. Takes 3-4 times of the same feedback to actually start implementing a change. Victim mentality. That's a 2, right? So better than a 1. Not great though.
It has the same bones of a 1 though. And it's just, the fact is it's just less, I don't know, less quantity of occurrences than a 1.
Yeah.
But still the same,
and you can
the same behavior.
But you can zoom in on this to, if I need to get them up from a 1 to a 2, what are those things specifically? Attitude, feedback, coachability, owning things, listening better. And so you can really get specific on how you're going to help this individual get better, right? Because that's the job of the leader. So that's a 2. So attitude and coachability, 3. This is where it starts to get better. You really want your people 3s, 4s. Mm-hmm. They're not all going to be 4s. I wish, 3s, good enough. It ain't great. But the more great people you have on the team, the more of a great business you will have, right? And your business simply consists of people, talking to people, trading money for product or service, right? So a 3, mostly positive attitude, but cracks, frustration, and overwhelm pop out here and there. Asks a lot of questions, not self-sufficient emotionally, needs coaching on mindset, personal side of just the sales process, open to change, implements feedback quickly, right? So E, right? Still room for improvement. You really want to push them to a 4, but if you go through your team, like I said before, a lot of them will be at this 3 level. And you want to do everything you can to get them to a 4 if you can. Anything to say about the 3s?
I have some questions actually. So, is it possible, you think, for a 1 to become a 4?
Ooh.
Or even a 2 to become a 4?
I don't think it's impossible. 4s come in kicking the door in. They come in at a 4.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least a 3. They come in, I'd say a 3. They'll come in at a 3. Good attitude, hungry, ready to go, open, and then you just refine them. But if they're assholes, they're like a 1, they're not. I don't think they're going to get to a 4.
I don't think a 1. I think you could probably get 1, maybe 2 levels up from someone with a lot of work, but to try to go from bottom to top, I don't think so.
This is a turd polishing analogy?
No, but we can refer back to that. Yeah.
So you got a 4. Okay, let's talk about a 4. Applies feedback immediately. Positive attitude, confident, receives feedback well, self-sufficient, high level of accountability, rarely asks questions, but reaches out whenever they are stuck. That's your girl. That's your guy.
And what's interesting is the people that are closest with us, the people that, want to be around us, are in higher level roles in the salon, or even integrated into other companies that we own, in the coaching company, or they're, wanting to be part of this or educate over here and do that. Those are all 4s. Every single one of them is a 4.
Mm-hmm. If you have mostly female-based clients, I'm just sharing from working with,
he's surrounded by women, guys.
Yeah, I'm surrounded.
Well, not
even
at home.
Even
it's
in
the other
fitness,
way around. Surrounded by boys at home, but
that's God's helping me out.
Yeah.
Here, bro. Here's some boys.
Here's some
fellas to hang out with. So, But I've learned a lot about working with ladies, and I'll coach leaders, female leaders leading women, and I humbly suggest things, and if you have a group of ladies and the top tiered ones, you'll know who's going to really want to be excellent because they'll vote with their feet. Like they will be around you. They will be near you. Literally. You got to watch not with so much they say, because sometimes people will say things to you that just sound good and like, okay, cool. I feel like we're getting somewhere. But really watch what they do. Watch how they behave with their feet. Are they close, like Rachel's saying? And I mean literally like in proximity to your location. Are they around? Are they like we'll have people that'll like go to church with us, that work with us. We'll have them for lunch, or they'll just swing by, or we'll go to the salon.
They'll like want to come by, like a baby shower coming up. Like the people, like the ones that are close, that like want to be close, like they'll be around. They'll be there. Like I don't get upset if someone doesn't show up, because it's like the ones that do show up, like they'll be there, So
and even more so, even in the location itself, when you're in the location, like who's like around you,
who's engaged, who's coming to team meetings,
who's avoiding you,
who's actively like involved. Like those people are likely your 4s, right? Or there are 3 with proper coaching and guidance and leadership mentorship. Like they sway back and forth between a 3 and a 4 based on like how long it's been since you've basically had a chat.
That's just attitude and coachability. I think I should do another column.
Give them another one. Yeah.
Preparedness. Give them another shot here. So we've got preparedness. Preparedness.
So weird.
It happens. You give me a microphone and it gets
I'm just glad I don't have headphones on today, because you're not nearly as loud as you would normally be.
Yeah. You just yelled for Kenzie directly into the mic.
I did. I'm sorry, Brooks. I realized that after I did.
Am I just chopped liver over here? She was at the door.
I was trying to tell her to come in, and she couldn't hear me. Huh? What?
I have headphones on too.
Oh, right. Well, I don't know if you had them on.
She's like, sorry, Brooks. Sorry, dude.
Well, you hear me holler up the stairs all the time. All right. What's the second category?
I'm actually working backwards, but preparedness. So I'm going to go 1 to 4. Preparedness. 1. Womp womp. No shows or late to meetings. Never has numbers or logic prepared around performance. Unable to use tech effectively. Just can't even. Right? What the hell? So that's preparedness. 1. So if there are people, they're no showing, they're constantly late. They don't know what's going on. The numbers are overwhelming to them. They're not prepared to discuss performance. They're full of excuses. And what I mean by excuses, I mean language that is in the construct of reason, circumstance, situation, or feeling. Like
they just have like a whole bucket of excuses. Like they just have an answer for everything, a reason for everything, I should say, not an answer.
And that is to distract you from the lack of action. So performance only lives inside of action. You want to talk performance? I'm going to be like, what you doing? What are you literally doing? That's why the girls that are close to you in proximity, they are physically doing something because they physically want to do better. Right? 2. This is going from 1 to 2 in the category of preparedness in my ramp up. And each stylist has their own ramp up, and we know where each one of them are. We discuss this regularly. The one we discuss quantitative, and this is the conversation we have around qualitative with team.
Weekly, we do this. Like in our management meetings that we do every single Monday, we do a weekly cash flow and performance meeting every single Monday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we do a morning tactical. So it's like a 15-minute tactical where management like gets on and we talk about like what are the numbers for the day, how far are we from our goal, anything we need to know about, etc., like that kind of stuff. But we rate our ABCs, or in this case 1, 2, 3s and 4s, on Mondays. And each week, you've got the same the people that are at a 4 or at an A, those people are the ones that are likely always there, right? And then you've got these other people that are kind of like fluctuating back and forth between B and C, just kind of based on whatever the hell is going on.
We used to do it like that. It used to be an A, a B, or a C. And I wanted more.
Yeah, definitely more granular now.
Granular
for sure.
detail around the qualitative aspect when we're discussing these things about the team. So that way we can elevate them up or out, right?
Yeah. So it's important that you guys like don't just like learn this stuff, but you actually like, and this doesn't have to be something like this is totally not like our team does not know ranking wise like where they are. Like we don't exactly like talk to them about that like on a weekly basis, but like from a leadership, management, ownership perspective, like it is interesting to hear from multiple managers like what are you, or I always say like rate your team, right? So for your location, rate your team. And it's interesting when you start to see that like you might have a manager, assistant manager at one location and they're literally almost to a T ranking people exactly the same as the other, which is interesting because then it's just like, well, that is how it is, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So that was one. Let me give you a quick summary of the one. Preparedness. Okay. One, no shows, late to meetings, never has numbers or logic prepared around performance, unable to use tech effectively. Twos, always shows up to meetings, but is frequently late without communication beforehand. Isn't always numbers ready and struggles to draw inferences from data. Like they can't read the data well and struggles with tech, but can manage. So two.
They're getting by.
That's really, they're not terrible, but they're not good, right? They're just in this like little floaty.
They're just kind of there.
You know, they're just showing up, going through the motions, autopilot, not having responsibility. So threes, shows up. I have this all color coded too. It looks great. So shows up to all calls, meetings on time and presentable, or at least communicates beforehand if they're going to be late. Always has numbers ready to go, but cannot necessarily draw the accurate inferences from the data yet. Can use the tech effectively, but is not as optimized as they can be or could be. Like they're doing everything well, but they're just not polished, right? They're not.
They're good. They're not great.
Mm-hmm. So that's interesting to me. Like the three, having a three, there's so much opportunity even still with the three as you're ramping them up. Mm-hmm. And I use this to, when I hire someone, I ramp them up to get them ready to go. This is like how we get people going on the floor or on my acquisition team or on the media team, on the production team. Like I ramp them up. Like we got to get them going, you know? Mm-hmm. And you guys do these types of things, but it's never like written down and laid out. When it's written down and laid out, it's a lot easier to understand. So
it eliminates like the confusion, or like you might think like, oh, there are four for sure. But then when you start to actually tie it back to like these qualitative and quantitative things, you start to realize, oh, actually they're kind of like between these two. They're really not a solid four. They're a three. Yeah.
And this isn't absolute. So you'll have to have it, because sometimes you might have a three with behaviors of a two in there. Like don't overthink it. You know, if they're a two, they're a two.
You're but a one is not a four for sure.
Yeah. So a four, this is in preparedness. We talked about attitude and coachability. We went through that column, and this is preparedness. Four. This is what you want. Shows up to all meetings on time and is presentable. Communicates beforehand if they're going to be late. Always has numbers and logic ready to go. Right. So there's nothing wrong with like missing numbers, or like I said, remember me telling you the subject to the mean, there's an undulation with working with humans. Sometimes people are going to be late, and it's understood. I wouldn't say it's acceptable, but if they're late, they need to explain why or give you proper notice. So you just know what's going on. And hey, I know the impact of me being late here and what that means to the team. Here's how I'm going to fix it moving forward. Here's the impact of me not showing up on time. They need to understand the impact on you, everyone else, because it messes everything up if you have a key component of the company that's behind. So now you got to catch them up, and then it throws you off, and it might put you late for the next thing that you got. So you really want them to own if they're behind, and fours will do that.
Yep. And I think it's important too, like, because initially, like in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, I feel like a four wouldn't be late. Like our fours are not late, but you know, like again, you're going to really just kind of decide here, like where, like your existing team members, where do they fit on this 1 through 4 scale, you know, when it comes to the coachability, and then when it comes to the level of preparedness, preparation where do they rank, right? Now, question for you, because I feel like this is going to come up through our listeners, you know, if let's say, like, do you ever, which I know the answer to this, I'm asking you to share. do you ever see that you've got a 1 or 2 on the coaching and behavior side, but then you've got on the preparedness side, you've got like the other end of the spectrum, or not?
Yeah, I mean, it's people will it won't be very far off. If you might have something, you might have like a 4 with a bad attitude. That
a 4
is
with like 2 behavior or 3 behavioral tendencies.
And there's something going on a human level with her, and it could be resolved with a cup of coffee and a conversation. You know, so go have that cup of coffee and conversation with that individual. They just need to feel something that there's something that's missing, you know, and you won't know until you just go have the conversation with them, you know. But yeah, you'll see that, but you won't see a huge spread amongst that. You'll see 3s with some. If you see a 2 or a 3 with some patterns of a 2, that gives you a really good microscope on how to make that individual better. Yeah. So if they're not prepared, or you know, the iterations could be infinite. But you know, if you have something like, we'll just use the same example of someone who's a 3 or 4, but they have an attitude of a 2, like it's just the attitude. That's just one segment of the total system of the qualitative piece. So just go have that conversation, see what's going on with them, and see if you can resolve it. Because usually it's just a perspective deal, or they don't feel appreciated, or, you know, if
they could be like acting out. Like I mean, my like real opinion here is I don't see 4s that have 1 or 2 tendencies at all, ever, because they wouldn't be a 4 if their attitude and all that stuff was like a 1 or a 2. Like if they were a victim, which is a consistent theme between 1 and 2 on the behavioral scale, if they had victim mentality, they would never be a top performer, because they would stay small and then blame others as to why they stay small, as opposed to understanding that it's their own fault and their own, you know, responsibility for why they are or aren't playing a bigger game. So, you know, that's there. I think where I could see something where maybe someone just in general has a bad attitude that is not their usual character, but it's basically coming out in like an acting out kind of like form, is that could be like a symptom of like, okay, like this is so not like them. Like, again, coffee, conversation, like work through the issue. But I really don't think that you're going to ever have a 1 or 2 on the behavioral scale and they're actually going to be prepared and perform as a 3, 4. They're just not.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. I agree with that. So when you're doing these a ramp up, or or someone's not performing well, like that's a really good tool to use when you're really inspecting the performance of the qualitative of a person. Again, quantitative numbers. There's a lot to be discussed around that. There's a lot of tactical stuff, but I feel like we talk a lot about tactical stuff on the show. So I really wanted to talk about this other side that is very, very prevalent in the day-to-day, and that's what you feel, right? You feel these qualitative inputs. So if you're trying to get output from someone and you don't like their output, maybe you need to go have some inputs into what they're doing, you know, or if you are feeling like crap, maybe you need to input yourself, you know, like go to the spa, go to the gym. Like me, if I'm like really, really overworked and I'm just spread thin, like I do an EO end of day procedure. We always do all these, but I was just really, really, really tired, and I'm not going to show up my best if I'm just beat up, you know? So I was like, I didn't blame anyone. I was like, I need to get better rest. So I need to take my evenings more, I need to be more responsible with my time and go to sleep so I can wake up early and get all these things done. Today, up early, ran, worked out before 7:30, ready to go. So I have the whole day, you know? So energy's back, things are better, but I wasn't blaming anybody. It was like, I gotta get the rest in. It's on me, you know?
And I was really excited because I was like, yes, we get to go to bed early, because I'm always ready to go to sleep early right now.
Yeah. We're like in bed and honestly, if you're listening to this and you really want to get your performance up personally, the best thing I've ever done, and I'm talking competitive weightlifter, CrossFit, marathons, jiu-jitsu, physical stuff, non-physical stuff like marketing and sales or music, like whatever I've been into, what has always got me through a rut or up to this next level is going to bed at the exact same time every night and waking up at the same time every night. Like we need to, if you start messing with that, like you're just is rough. It's hard to stabilize the day, you know. So that is a huge thing for us. So it's pretty early. We're gonna be turning the lights off at 9:30, you know, because I want to get up. We got about 6
Still
today.
too late.
6 today. But I love getting up at 5 a.m. It's nighttime. Like no one's up. Like nothing is happening. No one needs you. You know,
Yeah.
You can think, you can be creative. Like it's beautiful outside. It's quiet. I love it. So we're trying to shift our time up to where like
while we can, you know.
Yeah, well, we got the baby coming, so that like this gonna be a joke when I listen to this. We have the baby, like
we have like 8 weeks. You know, enjoy it while you can.
So,
but I will say our babies have slept pretty good. Like, you know, especially with breastfeeding and like being able to do that, and not having to like get up, go make a bottle, all that crap. We've been able to sleep pretty good. So, but yeah, sure. I'm definitely winding down. I'm like so tired, like yawning.
Are you talking about? Well, Yawning talking about sleep.
I slept just fine. I sleep really hard. Apparently, I snore every night now. Sorry. But
I was tapping you, and then like you were like giving me.
You were snoring.
Oh, I was maybe. I don't know.
Actually, I
usually do. I'm usually the snorer.
But last night, you tapped me, asking me to turn over because I was snoring, and I'm like, no, and I literally was like, no, dude, you were snoring. I can't sleep because you're snoring, so you woke yourself up, thinking that it was me, and it wasn't me at that time.
No way.
It was last night. Yes.
Was that what you're? Oh.
That's what I was saying.
That's funny.
I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I haven't even gone back to sleep. Like, I'm like dozing off, but you were over there snoring, woke yourself up, and then told me to roll over.
Blame you. And then tell everyone on the podcast it was you.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, we hope this is helpful for you guys. You know, as a business owner and a leader, you're always going to be in the pursuit of doing things better. So you're never going to have it all figured out. We don't have it all figured out all the time. We're constantly having to make refinements and make updates and change things and shift things and tweak things. So like, just, you know, be aware of that, you know, like, and just when you think you've figured it out, there's like these other like things that have to get tweaked, or, you know, you're at a different level that you haven't been at before, and you're just navigating the best that you can.
Best you can. And like, I'm not a perfect husband, but like I'm close, you know. Be better is the name of the game, right?
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time.
He's pretty good. He's a keeper.
Bye.